Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new edition of the EK and OutLap, our preview podcast. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, Nate Dean. We're getting close to this year's SuperNationals. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a big one, the 25th anniversary. And again, we're going to dive in with another OutLap here. We will do essentially all adult classes right now. We're going to do KA100 Master and Senior, X30 Master and Senior. We'll wrap things up with Pro Shifter as well. To take the opportunity right now to thank our presenting sponsor today as well, which is Trinity Karting Group. Trinity Karting Group is your first step on the ladder to racing success. Based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, they literally have a track in their backyard and a controlled environment to develop your skills. Trinity Kart Racing flattens out the steep learning curve with a professional staff that will put you on the right path. The focus is driver development, and they compete at the local, regional, and national levels, including the SKUSA Pro Tour and the United States Pro Kart Series. They have new and used packages available, and they are your Midwest source for Kart Republic chassis and IAME engines. Visit them at teamtkg.com or call 513-421-4463. All right, boys, come on back in here. You guys are at home. You guys are getting ready to go to SuperNats on Monday. I'm down in Cancun right now for the USF Pro Championships Staff Summit. Getting a lot done here this weekend. But it's been busy. David, I don't think we could have had Nate any busier for his first run up to the SuperNationals, that's for sure.
No, I wasn't as busy as he was for my first SuperNationals.
You were not.
Essentially, I just went and covered the event. It's been a grueling, essentially 3 weeks because we started, we got it going ahead early, trying to, be proactive. And again, it's just the crunch of trying to get everything in and all the new stuff we were doing with the countdowns that he's done and all the other regular work that we're doing, all the different articles. We just did the Route 66 interview with Chris Kardashian. So adding in graphics for that, and we got more graphics that we got to build for the upcoming coverage of the event. Also the video production that we're going to do and other things that are coming down the line. So yeah, it's a trial by fire, I could say, right, Nate?
But for Nate, literally, it's been an education too, right? Because he gets to see all this stuff that happened before he was born. The first couple of races, he wasn't even born yet, for God's sakes. It's unbelievable. So yeah, it's good for him. And Nate, obviously, diving right into this thing, right?
Yeah, it's weird doing the countdowns before you were even born. It's weird to see, before you get to the point where you weren't in karting and you get to see that the world you've been in for so long before when you were alive, but then you get to the point where you weren't existing, and that's it. It was kind of weird to think about that some people in our sport have been racing as long as I've been around. It's been cool to see their stories and showcase the stories.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. That's fantastic. And you'll have a different perspective because of that. That's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you like the bread box bodywork we used to have back in the day?
No.
Hard no.
Hard no.
Really? Cool. I mean, they're easy to clean. You put your arm right through it.
I hate it so much. It looks so bad.
I will tell you one thing is it's easier to put your graphics on. It's so hard now to put graphics on when it's cold or whatever. They got the full weird body work. All right. So again, folks, we're talking about SuperNationals 25 coming up next week, November the 16th to the 20th, on track for practice on Wednesday, the morning and afternoon classes. And as always, back at the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino, kind of the spiritual home of this event after it moved out from the rock pile out in Sloan. Now, David, let's jump in, do some event notes, talk about the track a little bit. Just over 0.6 of a mile, 0.622 miles, running in the clockwise direction. Essentially the same layout as 18 and 19, but in the opposite direction. And it'll be interesting to see what the initial feedback is from the drivers once they get rolling around here.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is Superkarts USA just published some photos of the track build already as of last night, and you can see the track forming. It really does look like what we had in 2019 with those sets of S's there in the middle portion of the racetrack, and then you got that straightaway coming back to what is turn 7. And that turn 7, it's not like that. When you look at the photo,
I'm wondering if they're going to move those barriers though, because it looks like it cuts back over.
It looks like it, just like it did when we went in the counterclockwise direction. Yes, they did that to allow people to exit but continue to turn. So I'm wondering if they need to redo that. But everything else looks exactly like it does on this map. That turn 2-3 section is going to be really sketchy, I think, for the starts, because obviously they're going to come through turn 1, 2 to 3 wide, and then they're going to have to narrow down to get to that right left-hander there, and then try and get through 4 and 5, and then set up for 6, which should be interesting. To note, looking at that photo, I think there's only going to be a couple corners that have curbs. It looks like turn 7 is going to have curbs. I want to say turn 1 is going to have a curb as well, just the way they have the barriers laid out in that photo. So again, a lot more to see. We'll see if they're still continuing to build. I'm questioning some of the barriers that are laid out and the spacing they have between those and the Jersey barriers. So we'll again, Tuesday morning we'll get a real view of it, but we'll have to kind of wait and see.
One of the key things I think is David talked about the fact that it's like you said, very interesting. Some tightness at the start. Once they get out to turn 1, that 2-3 combination, and then what's the last lap going to be like coming to the checkered flag through turns 9 and 10? Essentially back-to-back hairpins. You're going to be in full. I think it's going to tighten everything back up. Like I said in the first outlap, I think that once guys go on the defensive, it's going to bring everybody back into the fight. So I just think those last couple of corners, right in front of the grandstands, right in front of VIP, everybody's right there. It's going to be some thrilling finishes, I think.
And that turn 8 is going to be fast because they're going to be hauling down that straightaway.
Yeah.
Flat out through 8 and then into the braking zone for 9. That's going to be a great passing opportunity, but I would expect to see some wrecks going into turn 9 for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. David, I'll give you a chance to kind of run through the event schedule for those who don't know it.
Yeah, again, we're not on track till Wednesday. Wednesday is the first day of official practice. We'll have 4 rounds of practice, 7 minutes each. You'll have the morning groups and you'll have the afternoon groups. So again, only those categories in the morning will be in the morning, and the afternoon groups are in the afternoon. That'll roll into Thursday. We'll have 2 rounds of practice, a 7-minute and a 12-minute. And that last round of practice is going to set up where you go out onto the racetrack for qualifying, which will be the last session of the day. So again, morning groups will do 2 sessions qualifying, afternoon groups 2 sessions in qualifying. Then we get into our heat races. Friday will be 2 rounds of heat races for both morning and afternoon. And then Saturday is kind of the best day. It's Situation Saturday. We have the last round of heat races, and then the LCQ races that'll be conducted for both the morning groups that need it and the afternoon groups. So again, that last race on Saturday is going to be one tremendous LCQ. We have not had an LCQ in Pro Shifter in a long time. So that is going to be under the lights. It's just going to be magical. I could just see everybody up along the fence line for that one.
Goosebumps thinking about it right now. So good. Yeah.
And then we head right into Super Sunday with the main events. Again, the headline category is 25 laps. Thankfully for you, you only have to probably do 20.
Thank God.
Categories, and then 18 for the cadet division.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's look at the numbers as well. This is fantastic for the numbers. 486 last year out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. David, you're saying right now we're at 571. Is that the current number? Is that a record yet? What is the record?
That's not a record. Again, we've been over 600 when we had 13 different categories or 12 different categories. Trying to pull up the thing right here. 12 categories. In 2013, we had 602. So yeah, we're looking pretty good in terms of numbers. So
good. Well, good for you.
Again, we had some cancellations. Obviously, some drivers get hurt or travel plans are unable to make it. So I'm going to confirm that number because I think that's right, but I just want to confirm it. But the interesting thing outside the numbers is the numbers for temperature. We're going to get a little bit of cooler temperatures, I think. Yeah. So 571 is right now what I have with the cancellation. So that puts us over the 544 that we had in 2018 for sure.
Solid. All right. And so let's talk weather. I know we kind of rolled through there. Right now, based on you and I just before we came on here, both looking low 60s as the high. As long as we're sunny and not clouded over, I don't think that's going to be too bad. But it is going to be cooler mornings. We're going to be in probably the low 40s in the mornings when we roll out there.
Yeah, Nate, what year was it that you said you were at the SuperNats?
17 and 18.
So the weather, if I recall, I think there might have been rain in one of those years. Was there?
No, it was dry both of those. I think it was
no rain.
Rain.
Don't want cold and
16
rain.
maybe, but
okay. So it wasn't the year you were buying. Everybody was buying rain tires for $500 a set.
No, right. we heard stories about that.
Oh, so you were at Westgate. My bad. Yeah, Westgate.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, as we know, 44 full field for the KA100 Master class, new for this year, so no real comparison. X30 Masters up, David, up 8. 38 last year, 46 this year. I think that's great. A little bit of a drop in KA100 Senior from 93 down to 74. X30 Senior, exactly the same as last year at 87. And one you've already brought up, just absolutely amazing to see this in SKUSA, which has always been a shifter kart organization. That's where the roots of Superkarts USA came from. They're running shifter karts. Pro shifter at 73. That is awesome.
Yeah, the only other time we've had numbers close to this was in 1999, the year Mamo Gidley won. We had 60 drivers in S1. So, of course, they had LCQ then. I want to say they had LCQs pretty much up through what? What was the year Blaney was bitching and whining because they didn't run LCQs? Was that at the Rio?
That's right. The almost your last chance race.
Almost your last chance. We'll let you go. Maybe it was 05. I think it might have been 05. We had 40 guys.
Yeah.
So even 2007, we had 46. So yeah, I think they let everybody go then. So I think once we got below that 50 mark, I think they were letting everybody run.
Yeah. It's a big track, but yeah, I love. We're gonna have an LCQ. It's gonna be fantastic to watch on Saturday for sure. Well, let's jump into this then, guys. Let's go with KA100 Master category, brought to you by RLV. First year of the class, though, David, 44 entries, pretty solid.
Yeah, no thanks. I mean, thanks to you, really, is what it boils down to. I convinced you to race.
You did.
So it all boils back down. It goes back to me. I started this.
It's your fault. It's either your fault.
It's not my fault. Because, I mean, think about it. There's 44 guys there that are going to be part of the inaugural class.
Yeah.
This is something that's unique. If anything, we need to have a class photo just to kind of symbolize that, this is the first time KA100 Master is at the SuperNationals. It's a group all there to not only have fun, but be competitive. And there's guys there that are going to be very competitive. And it's a great mix. It's exactly what the KA100 Master category should be. It's a bunch of regional, national, and probably some club guys in there as well too.
Agreed. A couple of former winners in the category as well, which is pretty big, with Chris Jennings and potentially our first ever 5-time winner. Billy Musgrave can take the win.
Yeah, that's pretty much the storyline going into this category, with Musgrave making his master debut in the KA100 Master class. So that's pretty interesting to see there. Don't forget the driver announcer. There was only one driver / announcer in the field as well. That's yourself. And I know you don't want to gloat about yourself, but
Mike Smith isn't doing it this year.
Yeah. So if we could have brought that up to 2 if he would have done it, but he's
Xander could have raced 2, could have all 3 of us.
But he's not master age yet.
No,
he's just barely into, he's in that range now where he's not young enough to race senior anymore, but he's not old enough for master. But yeah, so 2 former winners in the field. 8 drivers actually from the outside of the United States, so that's a cool aspect to it. We got, I think there's only 1 Australian, because again, remember the KA means Karting Australia. I mean, that's what this engine was purposely built for. So maybe down the road, this category might see a few more international drivers. I know we have a lot of Australians coming to race in the other categories, but this could be one of those categories where we see more in the future. Mm-hmm. And then, but still 10 different countries represented in the field, depending on their nationality. So that's a pretty cool numbers to follow.
Let's get into some predictions then. Let's see what. So for those of you may have not watched one of our OutLaps, what we do here, we've done this for the last couple of years. Nate, myself, and David have all picked what we think our top 5 is going to be. We came up with a point structure to see who will win overall. I am the reigning champion, having just nipped David last year.
Terrible.
We'll see if Nate can come in and steal the show. I got that first year rookie kind of deal. Nate, let's bring Nate's.
Is he going to have a Wesley Boswell performance?
Oh yeah, exactly. Good for you.
Again, probably another guy he doesn't know about, because he was only what?
1 probably. What year were you born, Nate?
2000.
2000. Oh,
so he was 3.
He was 3.
So he was 3. All right.
Good.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay, so going with the hopes of a 5-time champion coming out of this, Billy Musgrave, taking him for the win, Miguel Mir. I put it second with Laurentio Mardon. He's done some good stuff in Route 66 and USPKS. I've been able to follow him a bit closer than some of the other masters, so I'm putting him up there. I think he has what it takes. Same with Mario Barrios. Again, some good performances throughout USPKS. And then Chris Jennings, I will put in fifth. Again, I talked about it in the other episode. I haven't followed the masters categories as much as the seniors or the juniors, so not too confident in this one, but I think have a good group of guys in the top 5.
That's pretty solid. I like that. Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, the only thing I don't like about this is he could have got some big brownie points by putting you in the top 5, Rob. But
why would he bother? He wants to win.
Good point. Why bother?
I will say this. I just found out that Miguel Mir is actually going to be racing with Rawlson Performance Group this weekend too. That was a late change, so that's a good pick. P2. All right.
So essentially, he's got 2 RPG drivers in the top 5 right there.
With Barrios as well. Oh, yeah,
you got factory carts. You got RPG Cosmic. You have a Techno Kart. You have RPG Cosmic, and then you have a Magic Kart in 5th spot.
For Jennings. There you go. All right. Well, that's Nate's got things underway. He's gone with Billy Musgrave. Cole, what do you got?
It's very similar. Very similar.
That is similar.
So I think Nate's on the right path. You know, he's got one little different than me. But I do have Billy Musgrave winning for a 5th time at the SuperNationals. I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer given the fact that he's winning in KA100 Senior division. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the extra weight. I want to say it's another 30 pounds maybe for this category, if not more. So we'll see if he's able to find places to put that on the cart and be able to make it handle and still work. I'm sure he's done a lot of testing with at Cal Speed as it's about ready to close down. But so I put Musgrave in first for that 5 to drive for 5. Laurentio Mardon, he's a great 100cc racer. We've seen him at the Florida Winter Tour doing well. He did very well at Rock Vegas as well there too. I haven't seen him do IME. He's done it, as Nate said, at Route 66. So he's been able to win there and win the championship there. He's a really good 100cc racer, not to mention 125 as well too. And he'll be going double duty. So he'll have this category in the morning and then the X30 Master in the afternoon. Martin Stone, another driver who I think excels in the 100cc side of things. He's won at Rock Vegas as well too. So I think he's certainly capable of being in contention for the win, along with Miguel Mir, who, as you just said, will be going to Rawlson Performance Group for the weekend. He's a multi-time Texas Sprint Racing Series champion. So you got to throw him in there as well too. And then I got Mario Barrios. I mean, the guy is fast. He's one of the fastest Masters drivers in the field. That's it's that position, I think could be anybody. But I threw Barrios in there just because he has enough seat time under his belt on the season. I still think you got to have that seat time on the season in order to be quick and to be able to be consistently fast, especially at a temporary circuit like this.
Agreed.
So
that's it.
If I would have known, because we got word after we did our predictions that Danilo Ramallo is going to be in this category, I possibly would have put him in my top 5, but because he's not on the entry list, we're getting screwed again by that. So we'll see how that unfolds, but I'm just putting it out there right now. I would have put Ramallo in my top 5.
There you go. All right. Well, that's interesting. Let's hold on here. So, dude, Cole, you and I are almost exactly the same.
We almost same top 5 though.
Isn't that crazy? So here's the one thing I literally just thought about this. I've announced all these races, all these SuperNationals. This will be the first. If Musgrave wins, we've all picked him to win. If he wins, this will be the only race of his 5 wins that I will have not called.
Well, hopefully you don't DNF and run up to the booth.
So I did the same thing. I just, listen, let's be real. Billy comes in. He's cherry picking here. Let's be real.
Hold on. He's pulling the Tony Nielsen of Rock Island.
Yeah, that's right. Come in and screw me over when I was kind of trying to win a rock. So I got Billy Musgrave to win. I think Lord 2 is on a roll right now. We saw how good he was at the Rotex U.S. Trophy Final as well. Obviously, Nate's mentioned how well he did in Route 66. He has done a lot of racing. He's doing double duty, as you said, too. They've got that Techno Kart really dialed in. So I almost thought that Lord 2 could potentially battle with Billy for the win as well. I had that kind of in my mind because As we know, KA100 hard to get away, right? This is going to be pack racing, especially with this particular racetrack. So I have I'm right there with Martin Stone as well. He can perform in the big races. We've seen that happen before. And then, of course, Barrios and Mir as well. Again, David and I are exactly the same, except for literally flipping Mir and Barrios around, which is hilarious. But yeah, veteran drivers with tons and tons of seat time, as David said. And that's crucial coming into the SuperNationals. You have to be consistent. You have to not make mistakes. And that's where I'm going to be worried about the fact that I don't have a lot of seat time. It's guys like this are gonna step up and be there. So Musgrave for the win. 5 victories for Musgrave. We've all kind of went that way. So good for him. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. So let's just take 2 minutes to at least talk about you, because we did this on Kart Chasers Happy Hour. I did on Tuesday with Mike Smith and Aaron and Xander as well. Where do we put the over under? I set it at the top 20.
I think that's good.
It's a good betting line. I think, if somebody wanted to, say take some side bets here throughout the paddock as the week's going on, I think, top 20 is a good over under situation. So I already put myself out there. I said, you're going to finish outside the top 20.
Dick.
Now, again, it's nothing to do with you. It just has to deal with the fact that this is a pretty solid field. There's a lot of drivers we haven't talked about.
I haven't raced a 2-cycle in a long time.
And you haven't raced a 2-cycle in a long time. Now, I'm not doubting your abilities, because I think you'll be on pace. I'm going to say you're going to be at least 2/10 off pace.
All right.
At your best. I think
on
at your
Sunday,
best.
maybe.
I'm not saying Wednesday. I'm saying by the end of Sunday, you're going to be about 2/10 off the pace. Nate,
probably a little more than that.
Nate, you got to put in your over under right now.
I don't know. I think under 20, but just barely. I'm thinking like 17 to 19 in those 3 spots. I think that's a good, solid place to finish off on Sunday.
I like Nick Terlecki. I keep my nose clean. I finished 10th.
He did watch you at Cup Karts. He was watching you there. Yeah. So yeah. He and that's why I said I think by Sunday you'll be at your best. That's
I agree with that.
I've seen you race enough times to where I know you build yourself up as the weekend goes along.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we'll see how it plays out. Chris Jennings dropping in here. He says 10. Chris says 10th to 15th.
So Nick he's going under.
He went to 20. I mean to 12.
Well,
we'll see. Hey, listen.
Still under.
I got to be smart. That's what I've got to do. I have to be the guy that stays out of trouble. I got to be the guy that's not in the wreck. So that's really the key for me, I think, to see what we get for sure. We got Gary Osterholt. Gary, top 5.
Yeah.
No, that's not happening. There's literally only 10 of us, I think, that are over 50.
There could be a big wreck.
This isn't
a really big wreck.
This isn't 50 plus legends. This is 30 to 65. Tom Gerstner's like 64 or something like that. So there's only a handful, maybe 10 of us that are over 50. So I'll try to win the Supermaster category.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Well, during the week, I have the ages now. It took me a minute to get those. I forgot to ask. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Stay out of trouble. What we're going to do. All right, folks, that's it. That is KA100 Master. Welcome back to our OutLap podcast here for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals. Rob Howden, Nate Dean, and David Cole going class by class through essentially the 5 adult classes other than Master Shifter, which we did in our first show. X30 Master up next. This category brought to you by Orsalon Racing, a strong field. We haven't seen a lot of X30 Masters, guys. It's one of those things that struggled. It's really, wasn't even on the Pro Tour this year because of that. But 46 drivers stepping up for the SuperNationals. Past winners, Derek Wang, of course, that big win for him last year to be able to get that one on the record books. Kip Foster, 19, 18, 15, and 14, one of the few 4-time winners. Renato Jader David winning back in 2016 as well. But before that, David, it was actually Tag Master, not X30. We had a bunch of different winners there on different equipment too.
Yeah, it was and if you go back that far, because Kip Foster could have 6 at this time.
Yeah.
He had 2 races where he was the provisional winner and was disqualified. I want to say it was Rock TT engine both times in 2010 and 2011. So again, essentially this category started in 2003 at the Rio. So it's coming back home to what is probably one of the more competitive fields we have ever seen in this category.
Wow. Yeah.
And again, this category used to be one of the first ones to sell out. So everybody filled up those 44 entries really quick, and then they expanded it. Right. So we had a lot of international guys coming over and doing this category. You know, Kip Foster, Leonardo, Neen Kadru, who's got 3 victories in this class as well.
Yep.
Many others that are joining this class. And then it kind of like what we've seen on the Pro Tour, the numbers kind of went down, so they put it back down to 44. But, you know, this 44, I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. It is outrageous and probably one of the most difficult categories to pick a top 5.
So when we do our predictions, let's back off. Like we didn't talk about any of the other guys in some of the other categories, like in KA100 Master. We didn't talk about the fact that Johnny Blair is coming to run as well. PP Mastro's coming back. Tim Meyer, one to watch. Eric Molinati, guys like Zach Schiff, who's a former Stars of Karting champion. Travis Roberts, Christian Vomier. There's a lot of other guys that we can bring in. We'll come back and talk more about that afterwards because X30 Master is absolutely stacked, David, like you said. And I think it was Carlos Calderon, I think, that posted it up on Facebook. This could be the best Masters field we've ever seen, ever, in American karting.
For single speed, I would say for sure. I mean, it's tough to kind of compare the Master Shifter and you know, X30 Master to each other because, you know, the shifter side of things, G1, and it goes all the way back. I mean, there was a lot of good G1 fields back in the day, but really, I mean, it doesn't compare to this because you could probably name off 20 people that have the possibility of winning or the ability to win. And that's just amazing. It certainly is a difficult one, but you know, which means I think every inch is going to matter out there on the racetrack. Guys are going to be going for every position possible, trying to make sure they get themselves in position for Super Sunday.
Yeah.
Let me look back. The furthest back anybody has won in this category. Let me look to the spreadsheet here. 13th by Kip Foster in 2014.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
So if I recall, I think that was the year he passed Will Power for the win.
Oh, really?
If I recall, that was it was actually his first victory. So Power was there in 2014. I think he wrecked in 13 with Bobby Wilson. Then in 2014, I think Power was out there in the lead and just nobody could stop Foster. And he was just a monster coming back up through the field and was able. So it was Foster and Power 1-2 that year.
And this was the toughest thing about picking, right? Like you look at the guys we always talk about, but the guys that were on the outside. Like I picked 10 guys and then kind of tripped up the top of the 10. There's guys that are going to be like champions are going to be 15.
Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, Nate. Let's see what Nate's. He doesn't follow Masters all the time, so we'll give you a bit of a pass here. But
Nate, but this is the better. Like just throw it out there and see what you get. You know, I mean, there's a lot of different ways it can unfold.
Let's roll with Nate's picks here.
So with how he's been doing in the past couple of races, I'm going to go with the man who won X30 Masters at IME Grand Nats in North Carolina, Ben Cooper, taking the win. Came 5th at Rock Vegas in VLR Masters. I think he's on a bit of a good streak right now, has that momentum rolling, and I believe we'll be able to Kip Foster, who I put in 2nd, Jadier David in 3rd, David Serra 4th, and Danny Romalo 5th. Again, I think it's a good group of drivers. Not too sure. I'm not too confident about 3rd through onwards because, like Rob said, there's just a ton of talent in this field. So I think Ben and Kip are 2 that will definitely be up there, in my opinion. But the rest of the field is going to be a toss-up with just how stacked it is this year.
Yeah, I didn't see Ben Cooper's name on the list. Oh, shit.
Oh, that's even better. I love it. And Rob, I highlighted him when I sent it over. Is he not highlighted?
But I got rid of all of them. I thought that was your picks.
No.
Dude.
No, when I sent that, I have it. That's set up for the previews. So you don't have to clear it out. It's it's color coded. So yellow. Let me just say it. Yellow is former winners. And again, we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 former winners in the field in yellow there.
How did I not see that?
So let's go to mine first.
Let's go to Dave.
Unless you want to. Let's go to mine. Here we go. So I'm a man who loves history. I love watching monumental moments, and I think this is going to be one of them. Fortunately for Billy Musgrave, his class is before this one. So he's going to get his first, but then just like they did in 2019, Kip Foster will come back and win his as well too. So he will be tied with Billy Musgrave for 5 wins at the SuperNationals. I think it's going to be an Aussie 1-2. David Serra is going to be the Susan Lucci once again at the SuperNationals.
No! Ouch!
I mean, again, he knows what he's doing. There's no doubt this is probably, aside from the one where he came 1,000th of a second short of victory at the line, this is probably his next best opportunity to get a victory for the first time at the SuperNationals. But Kip Foster, man, that guy is a machine.
Yeah, he is.
It's going to be very tough to not only keep up with him, but to get by him. So I got David Serra in second, but God, this is so difficult. Because really Ben Cooper could win this all the way too.
Yeah, 100%.
And I have him in third. Nate has him picking to win again, so that's a great pick for him. I just, I love the history. I love seeing monumental moments, and so that's why I went Foster. So I got Cooper going in third. Again, it's his first master race, but really it's the same for Sarah as well too. But they're going to be probably the cream of the crop. They're going to be the guys setting the pace throughout the week, and I have them running second and third. Fourth place, I have Danilo Romalo, the driver who won the United States Pro Kart Series Championship this year. He also won the U.S. Road Tax Trophy Final as well at Newcastle. So he's giving up the trip to the grand finals to come here to the SuperNationals and race both X30 Master. And then we got word after the entry list was done that he's going to race KA100 Master as well. So I have him in fourth. Again, another driver who can win this race. And then in fifth spot, a driver who has won this race. Now, he didn't win it on track. He actually won it by penalty in 2016. But Renato Jader David is another driver who is probably one of the best Masters drivers in the world. When you look at the amount of victories he has, three Rock Cup Super Final victories. He just won Rock Vegas once again. It's just, the guy, he wins everywhere he goes.
Yep.
And, I think he'd like to get one and earn one on the racetrack. I just don't see it this year. Again, just the way I have. Again, all 5 of these drivers can win. And then we have a lot more that we haven't talked about that could still win as well, too. So it's very difficult.
So we all picked Billy Musgrave to win KA100 Master. We have 3 different winners picked here. I went for Karting Jesus, David Serra. I'm going David Serra for the win.
Can I get an amen?
I just think, again, Kip's won 4 times. David has been the bridesmaid, as you said, the Susan Lucci. I think David's going to come in and be on his game. As you can see, I don't have Ben Cooper because I did not see his name on the list. So I will not wish him ill will, seeing as I'm teammates with him as well.
He's not going to give you his data.
No. I got Kip Foster second because he's going to be a beast. I've got Renato Jader David right in there, all the same reasons. I always like Matt Johnson. If he's in a race, I like him to be in the top 5. He's scrappy. We know that, and Matt he came close to winning last year. And a guy that almost won as well, Will Power. You talked about that win that he lost from Kip Foster. Will Power, I think, running for Rawlson Performance Group, maybe.
That's what it was listed as.
Yeah.
We haven't confirmed anything regarding that, but that's what it's listed as.
So Will's he's obviously going to be looking at my data. Just for rolling speed.
Yeah, what not to do. Yeah.
All right, so I got Will in the top 5. He's super fast. A couple years ago, I remember when he got wrecked out quite a bit. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack. Obviously, tried to run senior last year with Joseph Newgarden. This time running in Masters, which is where he should be. So the IndyCar champion and a former Indy 500 winner. I have him top 5. So again, I got David Serra. I think this is the year. I think it's this year he stands on top of the podium.
Matt Johnson was one of my guys I was looking at. Again, he finished second last year. You could see it in his eyes when we saw him at the end of the day on Sunday. Like, he knows he was that close to getting that victory.
Yep.
The only reason I didn't put him in the top 5 is he hasn't raced much this year. All those guys that we have listed, aside from David Serra, because he doesn't race, he does a lot of coaching with kart class, but I've not seen him race, but he's still David Serra. And Matt Johnson just hasn't been on the racetrack.
So let me throw a couple extra ones out here for you. The guys just, from my mind, was like, oh, you know what? Let's see if he steps up. Ian Kuncha is number 1. Kind coming off the win at Rock Vegas. He's Challenge of the Americas top dog as well, finished 9th last year. Laurent Mardan, we talked about him being in the fight for KA100. He could do the same thing here as well. Miguel Mir, Martin Pierce, 3rd last year. I think a driver could potentially be in the fight as well. And then let's just give a shout out and see where he finishes. Bonner Moulton as well, running his 25th SuperNationals.
Yeah, it was. I wanted to put him in as a sentimental top 5, but I was like, this field's too damn tough. I can't do that.
It's a scrap.
And again, he was, he got top 10 pace last year, so I wouldn't expect. I would not be surprised to see him in top 10 for sure. Add another name to it, and it's already been mentioned a couple times. Chris Wareheim.
Chris Wareheim, yeah.
He's making his master debut at the SuperNationals. He won at United States Pro Kart Series at Road America, a track he loves. So he's able to jump in the kart and go, but he does a lot of driver coaching as well too. So he's always in the seat.
He's fast.
Another former winner we haven't talked about making his master debut as well is Greg Welch.
Yeah.
A winner back in 2000 in the K3 division, the cadet novice shifter category.
CC novice.
Yeah. So
I'm down here in Cancun with one of the other former 60cc novice winners, Joel Miller.
That's right.
He won in 99.
But
being Tad for Nikoshi.
That's right. But Welch, he was at SuperNationals back in 2018 when KA made its debut. So he finished 13th there in the senior category. So he's got the will. Again, another driver who's in the kart a lot, doing driver lead and follows. But there's a lot of these skinny guys that are going to have to put a lot of weight on too. So that's another thing as well. So especially Greg, he's got to put a lot of weight on.
Throw out Scott Kopp.
I was just going to say 2-time champion in the United States Pro Kart Series. So he's another driver as well.
Barrios.
Yeah. So he's the Pro Tour champion. Yeah. I mean, you gotta factor him as well too. He's running double duty. So is that going to help or hurt? We don't know. Again, a lot of different stories just in this field alone. It's going to be amazing.
Hit some of your line items there. I know we talked about it. One current IndyCar champion in the field, 5 former winners, but talk a little more about some stuff there. There's a couple more little good tidbits here about X30 Master, which is being presented by Orsalon Racing this year.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong category. 5 former winners in the field. Again, we talked about Welch, Bonner Moulton, Kip Foster, Renato David, and also Ben Cooper, who's got 2 victories. He's got 1 in DD2 back in 2013, and then X30 Senior win in 2018. So this could be the 3rd different category he wins.
That's true.
If Nate predictions go correct.
Nate's on the ball.
11 wins in total by those 5 different drivers. So that's a lot of victories at the SuperNationals. 12 different countries represented in the field, and 20 drivers from outside the United States racing in this category. And again, this category, if it has this continuing momentum, could be bigger next year, depending on if they open it up or not. So we'll have to see, or it could just be that one category that stays at this mark and it'll sell out quicker than all the other categories.
So 3 different predictions for winners in this particular category. So we'll see who ends up stepping up here. One of us is going to use this class probably to kind of jump forward into the battle. You think so? I don't know.
I'm putting my money on this one. Like
hold on, think about those 3 drivers we picked: Kip Foster, David Serra, and Ben Cooper. Oh, badasses right there.
If you want a karting all-star team, that would be the one. That would be one.
All right, folks, there you go. That's X30 Master on this edition of the OutLap. Back at it once again. OutLap for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 25. Rob Howden, Nate Dean, and David Cole. Those of you tuning in, great to have you here on a live primetime edition. You may be listening to the podcast a little later on. Thank you so much for tuning in. Maybe download the eKarting Radio Network app. We appreciate that. Let's move into the next category. KA100 Senior, AMR, and Medic West, the presenting sponsor for KA100 Senior. 74 entries. Of course, the class came into the SuperNats for the first time back in 2018. Stephen Barrows, the one and done, came in, took the win and bailed out. Paulie Massimino winning in 2019, and Brandon Lemke in 2021. Lemke finally getting that big win he needed at the SuperNats as well. 74 entries, Dave. One of the big notes that I love, 0 former KA100 Senior winners in the field. None of those guys are back.
Yeah, as you said, Barros was the one and done. Paulie Massimino, he moved over to X30 Senior, so he's only going to run the one category this year. And then Lemke, who was the provisional winner in 2019, got that victory in 2021, and just said throughout the year, he's like, I won it. I don't need to go back and do it again. He's been there, he's done that. He's not trying to be Billy Musgrave. He's trying to be Brandon Lemke. So
all right.
So we'll have a fourth different winner in this category, which kind of ironic. It's very similar to what we saw with S1 when SuperNationals first began. So we had 4 different winners in the first 4 years, and then we had a repeat with Scott Speed in year 5. So we'll see kind of how this shakes out. A lot of different drivers in this field, not quite as large as it was last year. We had 93 last year, so down to 74. Not quite sure why that is. It could just be the way, busy schedule. We had a lot of races going on, so maybe, some of the regional guys are pulling out and not competing this year. But really, to be honest, there's a lot of contenders in this field, including 4 former winners at the SuperNationals, along with 8 different countries represented and 12 drivers from outside the United States.
All right, Nate, Dean, you guys, these aren't Masters drivers now. You got a little better handle on some of the seniors. What's your top 5? What are you thinking of for KA100 Senior?
I mean, you say I have a better handle on it, but when you look at the entry list, it is a who's who. Woo! So decided, obviously some of the bigger names are going to be picked, have to go a little bit with a wild card. Christian Miles, who had one heck of a debut on Saturday at USPKS at the finale. I'll take him to take the win for KA Senior. Jeremy Fletcher in second. I'll put Oliver Calvo in third, putting him on the final step of the podium just because of his performance at SKUSA SuperNationals and him getting his maiden Pro Tour win there. Alexander Kardashian has the pace to hold up and keep up with Brandon Lemke and race him. Lemke won last year. I see no reason why Kardashian can't get in the top 5 and run for a possible win this year. And then Connor Zilish, who has been so dominant in this KA100 Senior category. I'm guessing you two have probably put him further up, but again, like I said last time, counting on a bit of chaos for this pick, but I don't think I'm too far off.
Well, if there's anybody that knows chaos on the final lap in KA100 Senior, it's Connor Zillage from last year.
Yeah, it's very true. 100% true. I'll tell you, this is Nate Dean swinging for the fences. He wants to take me and Cole down hardcore.
He's pointing. He's pulling. He's pointing to the wall.
That's right, no doubt. So Christian Miles, that's a big pick. And indeed, a big debut for him. And Christian, of course, a very talented young driver. It's cool to see him up top there. And so there is 5 on the podium. So this is the podium. All 5 guys go on the podium with the SuperNats. Yep. David Cole, what are your thoughts? Waiting for David to bring.
There we go. Sorry, I'm looking for a file. I might be short one here, so I'm looking. I was looking for yours here, unless I moved it to a different spot. So yeah, this is my lineup. My predictions for KA100 Senior. Yeah, like I said, we just talked about Connor Zillage being part of the wild and an exciting main event last year, and getting taken out essentially on the first turn on the last lap.
Yeah.
And but I have him again, quick. He's been in cars all year long. Hasn't done much karting, but went to the IME USA Grand National Championships at GoPro, again, his home track, but still came out with a dominating performance. He knows his way around the racetrack. I just see Zilch there pulling off and getting earned victory on the racetrack again. The one year he did win was after technical disqualifications in Mini. So this will be one that he's going to earn on the racetrack and add to his CV for the 2022 season.
All right.
One driver that's been super quick in the 100cc competition all season long is Jeremy Fletcher, the SKUSA Pro Tour champion, and then runner-up in the USPKS championship. Again, coming in as a double winner last year, won both X30 Junior and KA100 Junior, so he's going to be quick right out the gate. He's going to be one of those drivers you're going to be watching throughout the year. And then I have Frankie Mossman in the third spot. An interesting pick. We saw him substitute in the 100cc category at the Spring Nationals and was super quick with just a warm-up session. So it was pretty interesting to see that and kind of how that unfolded. So I have him there in the third spot as kind of my sleeper pick. Again, maybe not a lot of people are looking at Frankie Mossman in the top 5. And then I got Cedric Lupien, the Canadian, in 4th spot, running under the RPG tent. I think when you look at the Super Nationals, you got to consider some of the RPG guys in the single speed categories. And Cedric Lupien is going to be one of those in the KA100 division. I think he's got a lot of experience, especially at the Super Nationals. Him and his brother have been front runners in the X30 Senior category. So this is where I kind of have him finishing in the KA100 or KA100 Senior division. And then I went with Christian Miles in 5th. Again, kind of like how Nate Dean said it. You know, he really shot out of a cannon at the USPKS finale at Newcastle. I think the senior category, the kid's in the racetrack, in the kart track, at the kart track every single day. I think he's put the work in. I think he's going to be very competitive on the weekend and be able to really put it, be one of those contenders throughout the week. And so I put him 5th. Again, there's a lot of other drivers that I looked at. Could have easily thrown him in. Alex Stanfield's one of them. Yeah. A number of other drivers that could have been in there. But this is the top 5 I went with. So as I'm trying to load up your predictions right now, because for some reason I didn't have it loaded, that is my top 5.
I like it. That's interesting, Dave. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's bring mine up here. I played around a little bit here. I wheeled and dealed. I went with Jerry Fletcher. Double winner last year in the junior category, KA100 Junior and X30 Junior. So he's been a winner before. And I think having success at the Super Nationals once before, getting that kind of monkey off your back takes a bit of pressure off. So I like Jeremy Fletcher to get in the good battle here and be a part of a lead group to pull away. He and Zilich. Again, like David, you went back and forth. I like Chase Jones too. I think there's a lot of momentum right now. He was very strong at the Rock Vegas event, which is it's a different racetrack, but it's the same pavement, right? So I kind of like the field throwing Chase Jones in there right now. It just feels like he's got some momentum, some confidence moving forward. I like that. Stanfield had a fantastic year. He really has been one of the guys up front all year long. So I'm going to see him on the podium P4. And I'm with you on Frankie Mossman. I think the kid's pretty strong. And he did well hitting Supernats last year as well. He kind of steps up for these big races. So I see Mossman being right there. Again, I got him P5, but I'm going with Jeremy Fletcher for his 3rd Super Nationals win. That's my call.
Woo! 3 wins. Yeah, that 3 wins in 2 years. That's counter Dave Felipe-esque.
And that's we went with different people, right? Three different winners again.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 different winners again.
I knew the senior master categories were going to be fun. I love it.
All right,
Nate, I'm loving your picks. Let's kind of talk about some of the guys we didn't talk about.
I agree. Let's do that.
Because one of them was brought up in the chat here. Brent Cruz.
Yeah.
Again, racing speed concepts racing CRG. I think he's going to be quick. I just didn't put him in the top 5. I think, it's again, ran this category last year, recorded DNF. So is the same thing going to happen? That's where I was going with. I'm not sure. He's going to be quick. I would put him top 10 in qualifying, no doubt about it.
Agreed. Yeah. 2-time winner. Yeah, for sure. Other guys I put, I highlighted both the bailiffs, Finnegan and Gavin Bailiff, because they've been kind of strong in this category. Parker DeLong. What do you think about Jake French? Based on what we're seeing on Facebook, this could be the last racing weekend for Jake French for the foreseeable future. Going to hang the helmet up.
Yeah, I'm glad it's cool to see him do double duty again. He can do this in the morning and then Pro Shifter in the afternoon. So Pro Shifter will be the last race for him at the Super Nationals. And again, it's a long, stellar career. Again, a consistent career. He's been always a front runner everywhere he goes. It'll be tough to see him go, but I'm sure we'll see him around the paddock doing driver coaching and other things. And again, sometimes you just got to take a break from things, and I think that's kind of where he's at in terms of the helmet side of things. But he's shown speed as long as he doesn't get wrecked like he did all season at USPKS, where he was essentially the ping pong ball in the ping pong match. We'll see how that goes.
Here's a couple things I was looking at too. Number one, we got some veteran drivers that could potentially step up. We talked about Jake, Oliver Hodgson as well, right on the comp cart, could be in the fight for sure. We got a couple of guys that were top juniors last year, like a Parker DeLong, like a Chase Hand. We mentioned Christian Miles already. Aiden Rudolph was 10th last year. How is he going to look? Can he run top 10 potentially? I think another dark horse. None of us picked Nicholas Terlecki, who was third last year. I had him sixth. He was kind of I could see him in the top 5, 100%. Terlecki could he'd win this race. Let's be real. Again, we talk about that all the time. And the other one was, for me, I think a dark horse could be Caleb Schrader. I think another Rawlson performance driver from the Pacific Northwest. I have a feeling he was top 10 last year too, right?
Yeah, finished 9th last year. So,
so I think he can.
Nate, are there any other names that you see on the list that we haven't kind of really talked about?
I think we've kind of hit on the big ones. The Austin Juries, he's one of those that had a good couple races at Route 66 and at USPKS. You can't really count him out for anything. Other than that, I think we've hit on the big ones. It's like we've been saying, there's just so many big names in this field. I think I don't think any of us put Alex Stanfield in our top 5.
I did.
You did?
Okay. I picked Stanfield. I didn't pick Calvo, though. I think Calvo is a really good pick coming up. Obviously, the success of the Summer Nationals. I think that's definitely one to battle with. Who else? Oh, and Connor Ferris was another one. Connor's usually a top 10 runner in KA100 too, so he could be in the fight for sure.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting. Again, 74 drivers, a lot of different names we talked about. I would say at least half the field has the ability to be on the podium. That's it. That's phenomenal.
Agreed. All right, folks, there it is. Boom. That is KA100 Senior. All right, let's dive back into this edition of the EK and OutLap SuperNationals 25, our second of the 2 podcasts here to preview next week's event, the 25th edition of this tremendous race. We're going to go now into our X30 Senior class. We scroll down here, 87 entries in KA100 Senior. Ryan Norberg, of course, getting the big win last year. Zachary Clayman DeMello coming out with a victory. Ben Cooper, we've mentioned already. Joshua Carr won in 17. Jake Craig, an amazing final lap pass for the win in 2016. Louis Pagano, a winner. We go back to the Tag Senior days with some guys from outside the country with Marco Mastronzi, Nicholas Rowe, Gabby Chavez, who would go on to win the Indy Lights Championship, won in 2012. Philip Orsic, the Canadian. I listened to that one on the ECAN Radio Network. That was a big win for Philip. Nicastro in 2010. That was the battle with him and David Serra, 1,000th of a second. All the way back to Taylor Minch, Emmanuel Pagani, Joel Miller, Daniel Morag, David Yurka, Toby Schechter, and Chris Freckleton winning back in 2003. David, it's all in all, this is sponsored by Rawlson Performance Group. This thing is going to be an absolute headline cage match, I think.
It certainly is. It's going to be a wild one. And again, 87 entries. Tying for one of the highest ones. The biggest one we saw was when we went back to the Rio in 2008. We had 95 drivers in Tag Senior. That was a bit chaotic. We actually had a C main and a B main, and then an A main. It was a unique format that year. Still, I think we had maybe 2 junior categories that year. No cadets yet. So they had the ability with the schedule to kind of provide.
What year was that again?
2008.
I want to say Pierre-Luc Willette, I think, won one of the races. I think might have started like in the C main and made it all the way up. It was somebody
possibly
like that.
That's something. Again, I don't have in my record.
You got to go look at that. Yeah,
it was quite a wild one because because we went back to the Rio trying to figure out how everything works. I think the Machismo was that year as well too. So there was a lot of activities going on and uniqueness. The racetrack that had a bus stop in the back section instead of the long straightaway. So it was a unique, different layout. It was the same year though. We saw Jamie McMurray in the S3 category. Yeah. So that was a crazy year. It kind of all went by in a blur, but yeah, that was the largest time we had, or largest field we had for this division. In the one unique thing about X30 and Tag Senior, we have never had a repeat winner. You just went through all the different names in the category, so we've had a different winner every year.
You're right. Yeah.
So really, there is only 2 drivers right now who have the ability to be a repeat winner, and that would be Ryan Norberg and Zachary Clayman DeMello, our last 2 winners who are going to be in this field this year. So those are our 2 former winners. We also have 2 former or current world karting champions in the field as well. We have Mateus Morgado, the current champion, along with Pedro Hildebrand, another former world champion. Let me see. Actually, 3. I forgot to change that because we have Martin Kremers also racing in this category.
That's right. Yeah.
So I got to change that. I got to change
Okay.
that on my thing. So 6 actual former winners in the SuperNationals that have ever won at the SuperNationals. We have 13 Canadians in the field, which I think is probably one of the higher numbers that we've seen in this category. So that's a good number. 14 of the drivers are doing double duty with KA100 Senior. 18 different countries represented in the field. And if I recall, I think that's the most out of all. Nope. Pro Shifters got it by 1. So we have 18 different countries represented with 40. That's the most. 47 drivers from outside the United States. That includes Canada.
More than half the field.
But more than half the field are from outside the United States.
All right. Let's. We've kind of detailed a lot of great information there. Let's have a look at what the brain trust here thinks. Nate, Dean, what are your thoughts on X30 Senior?
I've kind of had some out there picks in the past, but when it comes to X30 Senior, I think it would be a little stupid not to put a certain someone towards the top. I'm going Ryan Norberg. You don't really need to explain that pick with the years he's had, not just this year, the 2021 that he's had, the 2022 that he's had, and coming right off of winning last weekend for the Rock Vegas event. I think putting him on top is a good call. Pedro Hildebrand in second. Jeremy Fletcher is one I was tempted to put for the win. Jeremy's had the pace, that flame, and that fire to try and dethrone Norberg all of this season. I think it could happen this time, but wanted to go a little bit safe on this one, putting Norberg on top. Hayden Jones is one of those that we really saw show a ton of pace at USPKS last time out at Newcastle, taking both day wins. I think he's a threat. And then Justin Anacotes for his performance at IME Grand Nationals at GoPro Motorplex, being able to fight with Norberg. I think he'll be up there as well. I should have put Morgado in here looking at it now, but you can say that for at least 10 or 20 other drivers I should have put that in the top 5, just like KA Senior. It's just the level of competition is just so high in this class.
I mean, it's hard to bet against Norberg, isn't it? How the season he's had the last couple of years and having that win already. I talked about how important it is to have that first victory. I said the same thing with Jeremy Fletcher. You've already won it one time, man. The pressure's off. You know how to get the job done. So, David, what about you? Who do you put in the big top spot? You're Norberg too.
Yeah, I had to go with Norberg again. Got to see the history. Nobody's won this race twice in the category, so I think Ryan Norberg's going to be that driver that does it. Zachary Clayman DeMello, he's quick. He was one of the quickest drivers at Rock Vegas just recently. And but I think Norberg, as Nate said, the resume over the last 2 years, especially in 2022, nearly winning everything that he's raced. This kind of puts it in his hand. Again, a lot of things can happen, and we've seen it. We saw it in KA100 Senior last year. This category I thought raced really well. A couple years ago, I think it was 2019 when Zachary Clayman DeMello won, and also Ben Cooper. There was a lot of last lap craziness. Yeah. Jake Craig, when the year he won, there was a lot of craziness that last lap. So that's what Norberg's going to have to avoid. He's going to have to avoid somebody trying to take him out during the heat races, and he's going to have to try and avoid the craziness that happens on Super Sunday. But remember, he sat back there in 6th for most of the race last year, and then worked his way up towards the end of the year, or at end of the race. Redemption for Jake Drew. I know he wanted to be on the podium last year, just fell a little bit short as the top qualifier last year. Coming off the big ARCA West Series championship, I think he's going to just jump right back into the GFC and be just as quick. Again, we've seen the GFC be very fast with Jake Drew behind the wheel and other drivers as well on that single speed chassis package. So I put Jake Drew in second to give him a little bit of redemption from last year. I got third place going to Mateus Morgado, the defending world champion. We haven't had, aside from Travis Sinato, the year he provisionally won and had it mistakenly taken away in 2017. We have not had, I don't think, a former world or current world champion finish in the top 5, or at least compete to win. Morgado, I think, is going to be quick. We saw him win the SKUSA Winter Series championship off 4 runner-up finishes and over those 4 rounds. So he has the speed when he comes to the United States. So I put the Brazilian in the third position. But the Spaniard in fourth with Pedro Hildebrand. This guy's been on Ryan Nordberg's case all year long. He kind of just been right there, but just not quite enough. But I think he'll be just like he was last year at the Super Nationals. Again, he finished in the, where did he put? Third place. So he finished third. I got him one spot lower this year, but I think he's going to be in the hunt all week long. And then kind of my, not necessarily dark horse or sleeper pick, because he was sitting top 3 in the EKN driver rankings presented by Skip Barber Racing School. But I put Paulie Massimino in 5th. I think he's found a new home with the Speed Concept Racing operation aboard the CRG. And that CRG, I'm a factory driver, so I gotta put somebody in the top 5.
I love it. That's good.
But I think Paulie, he's got to win there. He's confident. He had a little bit of struggles last year in X30 Senior. I think he's going to rebound from that and be in the top 10 early on and be able to contend for a podium.
All right, so here's my thought. You guys, I'm trying to win this again. I'm trying to defend my crown from winning last year. So I kind of expected what you guys were going to do here. I played the card.
You were anticipating our moves.
You guys went Norberg. I go Mateus Morgado.
Oh,
we're talking world champion versus what, 7-time, 8-time, however many championships he's won now here in top level national racing. I got Mateus Morgado.
5 SKUSA, 2 USPKS.
There you go. So I got Morgado going for it here. I got Ryan Norberg second, and with Norberg being in there, I think I brought Hayden Jones in only because they work so well together. And if obviously Ryan's going to have get a cart dialed in, the setup's going to be perfect. Hayden's been able to play off of that. He's been unbelievably quick and has won some races, as we know. So I threw Hayden Jones in there as well. So a couple of them in there. Same. I got Hiltbrand in the same place you do, David, P4. And like Nate, having Jeremy Fletcher in the top 5. I did the same thing with Jeremy Fletcher. And again, like you guys said, there's so many. When we wrap up our predictions to start going through, there's just so many other guys that I easily could have slotted in there. But I got Fletcher holding on for P5. Again, it's his first year in senior at the SuperNats, but those 2 big wins last year. And let's see, hey, if he wins KA100 Senior early in the day, second race of the day, I got him winning that one. So if he rolls up of that, you get more momentum going into the X30 Senior race as well.
Yeah,
so that's my call there. But again, let me just scroll through just some of the other names that
I like the Hayden Jones. That's the guy that was on my fence on the border there. But again, Super Sunday, there's no teammates, and I know he has the ability to be there. I think he's going to be top 10. I don't know about being on the podium. Nate, who are some of the guys on your fence right now?
Gosh,
just give us 2 right now. Who you almost put in your top 5?
I think after what I saw at USPKS, you have to put Kremers in that top 10 area. DeTulio, I think, is one we haven't talked about. Had a strong start of 2022. I think he might be up there as well. Bit of a sleeper pick, but we'll see what that Paralink card can do.
Dave, what else you got? Anybody else you got hanging out there? I got a couple. I had Kremers as well as one potential. Cameron Weinberg, another CRG driver. Agreed.
Connor Zillage is double duty. He finished 4th last year, so he's coming back to try and get back on the podium as well. Jake Drew was just short last year. How about you already mentioned Ataconis. He was 3rd in junior last year. Aiden Ingrata moving up from the junior ranks. He finished 5th last year in junior, so he's a junior rookie to watch. Dane Idelson is a junior. Jacob Kolar, another junior in the field. So those are kind of the junior drivers I was watching. Another one, an international one. Here's a name you guys probably don't know. Tomas.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
Stolsermanis.
Wow.
Tomas Stolsermanis.
Right. Yep.
Energy driver, going to be racing on a Nash Motorsports tent. He is a Road Tax Grand Finals winner last year in the junior category. So he's making his SuperNationals debut this year. So that's that's one of my wild cards. Keep an eye. I didn't put him in the top 5.
Yeah.
But keep an eye on him. He's actually running both X30 Senior and KA100 Junior.
Here's
KA100 Senior.
Here's another one too. Eduardo Villa on the TB kart. We saw him at the Winter Series and won a Winter Series race. So we're running with Race Lab, I would expect. So watch out for him to step things up as well. hey, you got to mention Alex Stanfield. He could easily be in the fight there as well. Other guys like a Blake Nash, Thomas Naveau as well. He would like to have a turnaround here. He's been doing a lot of running, and I think Thomas Naveau, former winner in the mini class, I think a number of years ago.
Former winner, finished fifth last year. So that's actually what's kept him in the top of towards the drivers' rankings is this fifth place last year,
all right,
and plus the stuff he's done this winter. So
Oliver Hodgson, sixth a couple of years ago. There's an opportunity there as well. Dalton Haynes, top 10 last year. There's guys that can step it up and make things happen. There's no doubt about that. Diego Conteca. Nobody picked Diego. He finished second last year.
He did, yeah. And he's been quick every time I've seen him at USBKS this year. Yep. So, again, a lot of different drivers you can go with. Some of the Mexican drivers, Donovan Bonilla. What was it? Noel Leon. And there was one more. Diego Ortiz under the GFC tent. So a lot of internet. Again, we said, what did we say? 47 drivers from outside the United States. Wow. There's no doubt we're going to have some in the top 5 and top 10 for sure.
So 4 down, 1 to go. That is it for X30 Senior. Jump right back into the final component of this edition of the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast of the upcoming Superkarts USA SuperNationals 25, capping off things at the Rio All-Suite Hotel Casino. Trinity Karting Group, the sponsor and our presenting sponsor of this podcast. Let's jump now into the final category before we wrap everything up here. It is Pro Shifter, brought to you by PSL Karting, a staggering 73 entries, really the headline category of the Superkarts USA SuperNationals. It was Formula S1 for the first 3 years. Then we transitioned that into Super Pro. That was 9 years at Super Pro. Then the KZ and S1 Pro Shifter categories for the last decade. Right into KZ right now. Obviously, a lot of adjustments. Dave, even before we really jump into it, I guess it's just good to see shifter kart racing rolling again. There was some issues there when the stock Honda was going away. Then the INES SE 175 came out. It was not widely supported. People are moving over to the KZ. That seems to be the answer right now. People are liking the KZ, and we got 73 drivers in the field.
Yeah, it was a transition. Sometimes you see that with a transition of power, and that's power, we mean horsepower. Just ebbs and flows of our sport. We've seen it a lot of times. The Yamaha was dying away. So we're like, are we ever going to have 100cc racing ever again? And then the KA100 engine came over and we're like, we've seen the numbers grow there. So very similar, a lot of people were talking, let's just go back to what the international standard is. KZ, let's follow it. Anybody can come race it. You can get your engines anywhere from around the world or wherever they're manufactured and bring them over and race them. And I think that's kind of the line. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. It's a more wear and tear, but these competitors, they're the ones that want to spend this type of money to go be the ultimate speed, be basically the F1 category of sprint karting, and be out there going as fast as they possibly can. And it's phenomenal to see these guys do what they do.
Dave, talk a little bit about this here. 3 world karting champions in the field, 4 former Pro Shifter KZ or S1 winners, 6 former SuperNationals winners. They're a stacked field as well.
Yeah, very stacked field. When you talk world karting champions, you got to include Martin Kremers, Pedro Hildebrand, and I got to go now. I got to switch my
David Foray.
David Foray, exactly. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So as you said, 4 former winners of Pro Shifter, KZ, or S1 in the field, 6 total former SuperNationals winners, so drivers who have won other categories but are in this field, Brent Cruz being one of those. 19 different countries represented in the field, so that is the record for categories, but 37 drivers from outside the United States racing in this class. So again, nearly half the field from outside the US of A.
Actually, over half, right? That's right at over half. Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. So it's a great international field, which we love to see. It's going to be an absolute battle again. Let's get right into some predictions then. Let's see what Nate thinks about shifter kart racing.
So I'll put Marian Kremers, the Burrell Art Pilot, on top of the podium come Sunday. Again with Norberg, I just think he's had some really good momentum in this 2022 US season. He just seems like the shifter kart driver to beat as of late. Put Danny Formel in second, AJ Myers third, a really, really strong top 3, and it will be fun to see if those 3 can battle it out throughout the week and the weekend. Brent Cruz, I'll put it 4th, and then in what could be his farewell race weekend, I'll put Jake French on the final spot of the podium in 5th.
So yeah, Dave, a couple of Burrells in there, Magic, Cosmic, and what's Cruz on? I didn't look.
As far as I know, Formula K. He's
K.
with Leading Edge Motorsports, so I assume with the Formula K, same thing he was on last year. That was what we were told.
Oh, hold on. It says here MPG Motorsports.
Yeah, that was incorrect. I didn't update that. Sorry.
Good. That's all right. That's all right. All right, David. We got one guy going for Kremers. Who's your pick?
Yeah. Got to do it. I just looked. Last year, I picked AJ Myers, who was the Pro Tour champion last year, to win at the SuperNationals. Martin Kremers, SKUSA Pro Tour champion this year, picked him to win this year as well. So I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously, he's been a runner-up the last 3 years. He's trying to get that elusive victory at the SuperNationals. This could be the year. Could be maybe the Pro Tour Championship's going to help him. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of international drivers he's used to racing with, including his teammates and last year's winner, Matteo Vigiano, racing against him and alongside him. I put him in 2nd. So I think it's going to be another PSL 1-2, depending on what brands they were. Obviously, Matteo was on the Charles Leclerc chassis last year. Right now, they're entered as Burrell Art, but we know they could run under the Leclerc chassis or other. We'll see what they're on when we get to the track side on Tuesday.
That's a Burrell 1-2-3 you've got there.
I actually have a Burrell 1-2-3 exactly.
Red Army.
I thought Pedro Hildebrand. He's got experience in shifter kart racing. He actually was 11th in the KZ World Championship this year. Finished 4th in the European Championship. That's better than both Kremers and Matteo Vigiano. So I put Hildebrand in there in the 3rd spot. Again, we saw something very similar last year. Who was that driver that finished 4th? He kept him off. Ricardo Longhi, right?
Oh, yes.
So he finished 4th last year. So it was almost a Burrell, a PSL Burrell Art 1-2-3 last year. I think it's going to be the same this year. I think just the way they the preparation and the performance they've been showing. Obviously, Jake French's been fast all year. Hunter Pickett moved over to PSL as well too. He's been, it's a red army. I mean, that's all we've seen throughout the year. Aside from the magic cart of AJ Myers, I put him down in 5th. Again, top qualifier last year. You cannot doubt him. I think he's going to be just as fast this year. He's got a lot more behind him. He knows what he's going up against with Martin Kremers, who's raced against him all season long. So he knows the bar that he has to reach. But speaking of bars, Brent Cruz has surpassed them all. The 14-year-old driver making his 2nd start in the pro shifter category. Should have been on the podium last year, was provisional podium, but a penalty dropped him out and off the steps. I think this year he's got a full year of car racing experience behind him. He knows a little bit more about racecraft in terms of the super speed that KZ packages bring to the sport. He's been racing Trans Am. I mean, there's no other car in the world aside from maybe NASCAR that has more power than that, or F1 cars. So
and he's got Greg Bell on his side.
And he's got Greg Bell once again on his side. So, that guy knows SuperNationals. He knows how to win there. And I think that tandem has been really successful. And so I put Brent in there in 4th. I think he'll certainly be a contender all weekend. And there's a lot of other drivers that we can easily put into that mix. But that is my top 5.
I decided to shake it up a little bit to a certain extent, have a little fun with this one, roll it up here. It's AJ Myers' year. And one of the reasons why I did this was I got to think he's got a fire lit underneath him what happened at Rock Vegas, where he got past him the last lap, last corners with yellow flags. A yellow flag was a head with him and Kremers. I think Myers is going to win this one. I think this is the year. It's a magic year, I think, in pro shifter.
Ooh, wordsmith.
Yeah, I see AJ going for the win. We talk about it, right? This was it was a SuperNats that was AJ Myers' coming out party as a pro shifter kart driver, because he applied for the KZ license. Remember that deal?
No, he applied for S1.
Applied for S1. The A licensor on S1 got declined. You could be a B licensed driver and run KZ, and he finished 6th.
Fifth on the podium. 2014.
What chassis?
PCR.
Exactly.
With Checkered Motorsports, the same crew he's been racing with the Magic Kart USA and Checkered Motorsports. Yeah, so that combination is quick.
So I wanted to play around. You guys are leveraging a lot of the Europeans with Longy, and you talk about Longy, you talk about Vajano, Hiltbrand. I still have Kremers in second. I almost felt bad for him because he wants to win this race so badly, and I have him there P2. He could again. We'll see what happens. I like Billy Musgrave in there too. Billy was fast at the Rock Vegas race. Always is good at the SuperNationals. I feel like he's dialed in that factory kart the way he likes it now. So I got Musgrave in the top 5. I got him on the podium. I'm going to go P3 for Billy. I don't know that he can get up there and fight for the win, but I like where he is right now in third. Martin Kremers just came on and said, "Safe bet, Rob." I love it, Martin. It's going to be fun. I love it. I got Jake French P4. He's always had pretty good success there. And there's my sleeper pick to have some fun on the podium. I went with the big O, Oliver Askew for GFC. I think he's going to be in the fight still. I want to see if he's able to get up there and battle with everybody. As we said, you guys mentioned a bunch of guys that could easily be 6 through 10. This thing could flip-flop. This could be Kremer's year as well. He's always fast. And I'll say this, PSL Karting and Burrell Art have been very good at the SuperNationals. Last year were very strong. Like I said, I'm leaning towards AJ Myers, but I have a feeling that Martin Kremers is going to be right there. This could be a 2-driver breakaway throughout the 25 lapper for big money.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, don't count out, drivers like Kyle Wick.
Yeah.
Jacob Gulick.
Let's scroll back here, throw a couple other names out there. I didn't go with Danny Formal. I think he'll be
Nate's the only one. I didn't go Formal as well either.
He's the only one for that one. Let me scroll. Who else did I have here that I think we should watch out for? We've got a couple. What I like, we've got a couple of female drivers, right?
Yes.
In the field here this year with Hannah Greenmeyer. I believe Macy Williams as well, right? Yeah, Macy Williams running as well. What are your bets on Ronnie White? Where does Ronnie? Where's the tornado end up?
He's gonna make the main.
The 2002 winner, right?
2002, but that's not the oldest winner in the field. I shouldn't say the oldest. I should say
It's 4A? It's
the earliest. No, the earliest winner at the SuperNationals is Matt Jaskell.
Matt Jaskell won 80cc junior in 99.
99. So that's the unique thing. But yeah, I think White and 4A have the battle for being the oldest in the category for sure. I obviously with having this many drivers, we're going to have drivers in the LCQ.
Yeah.
I think Ronnie will get through that. But he finished 23rd last year. And again, KZ is a different monster. He's really good in the rock shifter program, but KZ is a little bit different. He still has it. I think he can be top 20, but I think that, he's kind of like you. I put him, we'll say top 20, around that area.
So Hunter Pickett, we didn't mention Hunter Pickett either.
I did, I talked about him and, with the PSL Burrell Art, how fast it's been, Pickett's been good. He raced over at the Rock Cup Super Final, finishing in the 6th spot there. So he's got an international race under his belt now coming into the SuperNationals. Hopefully it doesn't end up like that one year when he was on his head sliding for 300 feet into the wall.
Yes.
Because again, same layout as when it happened going into that turn 1 section, what is now turn 1. One driver to watch international again as well, Christian Bertuca, the FIA KZ2 vice champion.
Okay.
So one driver to watch. And again, PSL Burrell Art.
Burrell Art. Exactly.
So, really looking at the field, there's probably about 12, if not more, 15, 20 guys in shifter carts under PSL 10.
Here's 2 that I think will be interesting. And it's guys that we've seen before. It's on ITEL carts for Catalyst Driver Development, Scott Hargrove and Rainbow City. I'm going to be really interested to see how good they're in their carts quite a bit. I want to see what they're able to do. I think they'll be top 20, top 15. We'll see if they have the speed to break themselves into the top 10.
Yeah, Remo finished 17th last year, and he was just at Rock Vegas as well too. Yep. So yeah, we'll see. I think he was on the podium till a penalty dropped him off. So
okay, so there you go. See. Potential. So, folks, that wraps it up. That is it. We are done for the OutLap Preview Podcast presented by Trinity Karting Group. David, we got the first one we did with the micro, the mini, and the juniors. You and I were pretty close. We got some separation here in the adult class, and then there's Nate there throwing haymakers at us.
You know, he's never been he has been to Vegas, but now he's old enough to enjoy it. So maybe he's going to have some of that gambling, feel when he gets there on Monday night, Tuesday morning. We'll see how the week goes. But I mean, why not? I think he played us really well because he knew we were kind of similar in the way we picked. Maybe he did some homework, I'm guessing, or maybe he just threw some wild cards out there. I don't know.
Remember, folks, we will be with Kart Chaser. Myself, Xander Clements, and Mike Smith will be on the broadcast. We're also going to be streaming that audio live on eKartingNews.com/live or /radio, right? Radio.
Well, we'll have it both on live and the radio. So yeah.
So if you're not able to be a place where you can actually watch what's going on Kart Chaser, you can stream it live on the Radio Network app. Just crank your app open and have it on there in the car, whatever it may be. So that's another way of doing it. The hashtags we'll use throughout the week, which we've been doing the whole time. Hashtag EKN at SKUSA. Hashtag SKUSA SuperNationals. Hashtag SuperNats25. Hashtag Vegas. Hashtag Rio. Hashtag karting. So that's all the way to be able to kind of search what we do. To show up everything we have. But otherwise, man, this has been 3 weeks of hard work on you guys. Kudos to both you and Nate. It's we've never had this kind of extensive coverage coming in. The countdowns have been awesome. Grabbing the old video, the old audio, those were a ton of fun to watch. So, and then the previews, knocking all the previews out. David, you've been busting your butt for sure, and I thank both of you guys for working so hard. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Now we have Saturday and Sunday to kind of relax, and
take a break.
And then Monday it's full on. We travel. All three of us will be traveling in on Monday to hit the ground running Tuesday morning. We got a lot of things that we're going to be doing, and excited to do that. Excited for again a monumental event, SuperNationals 25. Nate, what are your thoughts going? What are your final words before really our coverage begins? What are you thinking right now?
It's just what we talked about at the start of the show and throughout it, just looking through some of these entry lists. It's just who's who of karting. You feel like you have a good top 5, but you can also put 20 other drivers in each class in that top 5. And it will be nice to see some of the greatest karting drivers in the world battling it out in a parking lot in Vegas. Should see some good racing.
Yeah, I agree.
One more comment. Just because we didn't talk about KA Master.
100%. Yeah. So this is funny that Tommy brings up Jamie Siraki, because Jamie's been kind of messaging me a little bit. Literally, he was one of the first guys to enter when we did that push, get the 25 that we needed for SKUSA to add KA100 Master. Jamie's like, "You got me. I'm in. I'm coming out." Well, he was telling me of the practice. He's been going out and practicing, and he's tired. It hasn't been in a kart in a while. He's been taking care of his boy who's racing now too. So of course, Jamie Siraki from Franklin Motorsports and Merlin Nation coming back out again. This is a guy that's he's a Pro Tour race winner, right?
Yeah. So I was doing the preview, I wanted to make sure I got some details from him. So I think the last time he raced was 2012, and that was the year that was like Leclerc was racing Tag Senior. Nick Castro was there. Matt Johnson was racing it. Joel Miller, who is there with you, was in it. Dennis Olsen, Olin Gali. That was a pretty stout field. Gabby Chavez actually won that year, and Jamie Siraki finished 10th.
Wow. Okay.
So again, he has, he's a pro, like you said, he's a Pro Tour winner.
He did say that in his testing, he did one of the things he said. So Jay, I'm not supposed to say this, but he said he did 150 laps on Friday. It was almost useless on Saturdays. I feel you. I understand it. So
and that's a good thing, because again, your sessions are only 7 minutes for practice. So it's almost like the blood starts flowing and then the checker flag comes out. So that's good. Come race time.
Saturday, there's a warm up and a race. That's it.
Yeah, it's really it's and you think by the time you get to Sunday, you're like, okay, I can make the 20 laps. This is going to be no problem.
Yeah, I've been working hard enough that I think I should be okay. I've been trying to push myself hard for that 22, 23 minutes, which is be a full race distance. So, All right, folks, that's going to wrap things up. We are done for this edition of the EKN OutLap. Again, we're just getting rolling, though, of course, with our coverage from the SuperNationals. All of our previews are out there. You can go to the website, class-by-class previews that David put together. The full entry lists are there as well. We did the full countdown from 24 all the way back to 1. What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is 4 days away.
There you go, 4 days away. So keep looking at those. They're awesome. Nate's done a tremendous job with those. And again, coverage will fire up once we get to the track on Tuesday. We'll be flat out for the entire week. Great to have Nate with us as well. Alicia will be on board as well. We have everybody there. We got brand new gear coming too. We got a bunch of new t-shirts coming as well. A hashtag t-shirt you're going to like. A bunch of great stuff. But otherwise, we're done, folks, for this edition of the EKN OutLap. On behalf of David Cole and Nate Dean, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.